There is a fire inside you. You've felt it. Quiet, persistent, unrelenting. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand. It simply burns, and every time you've silenced it with doubt, with fear, with procrastination, it still remained. Waiting. Not every man hears the call. Most sleep through their greatness, distracted by noise and numbed by comfort. But if you're still listening now, then you are not most. You are the few. You are the rare soul who suspects, perhaps even knows, that your life was meant for more. And the only thing standing between you and the mountain of your potential is discipline. Not motivation, not luck, not talent. Discipline is the steel bridge between your vision and your reality. It is the unsexy, unglamorous, undying commitment to show up even when your mind screams for escape, to act even when your body pleads for rest, to build even when the world offers you every excuse to quit. And yet, this word, discipline, has been twisted. It has been softened by a culture obsessed with ease. They say, be kind to yourself, as if discipline is cruelty. They say, take it slow, as if urgency is sin. They tell you to love yourself, but forget to mention that self-respect is impossible without self-control. Let me tell you the truth. Discipline is not punishment. It is liberation. It is how you reclaim your mind from chaos. It is how you rebuild your soul in the image of greatness. It is how ordinary men become legends. The Spartans understood this. Their greatness wasn't an accident. It was forged in fire, in repetition, in ruthless devotion to craft. They weren't superhuman. They were disciplined. They trained when others slept. They sacrificed when others indulged. And in return, they were feared, respected, immortalized. We don't live in the age of sword and shield, but the battles we face are no less real. You may not be asked to defend a city, but you must defend your future from distraction, from mediocrity, from the slow death of untapped potential. And the weapon? It is within you. The sharpest blade you'll ever wield is unbreakable discipline. Not discipline that visits on Mondays and vanishes by Thursday, but a relentless force that survives pain, survives fatigue, survives rejection, and keeps moving. Always forward. Do not confuse this with hustle for hustle's sake. Discipline is not about burning out. It is about burning brighter. It is alignment with purpose. It is devotion to the highest version of yourself, not for applause, not for validation, but because you were born to rise. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you honored your word to yourself? Not just to others, to you. You said you'd wake early, but you hit snooze. You said you'd eat clean, but you caved to craving. You said you'd focus, but you scrolled. And in that moment, you didn't just lose time, you lost trust. You told your subconscious, my words mean nothing. And the more that happens, the weaker your identity becomes, because identity is not built on what you say, it's built on what you do. Discipline is how you rebuild that identity. One action, one decision, one kept promise at a time. When you rise before the sun, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. When you say no to temptation, not because you're a saint, but because your mission matters more. When you show up again and again and again, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching, that's where power is born. In silence, in solitude, in sacrifice. And here's the beauty of it. Discipline multiplies. Like a muscle, it grows with use. And soon, the impossible becomes effortless. What once took every ounce of your will now becomes part of your nature. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to try hard, because you are hard. You've been through the fire. You've earned your edge. Let the world chase dopamine. Let them be slaves to pleasure, to opinion, to the fleeting comfort of the path of least resistance. Not you. You are a builder. You are a sculptor of self. And every disciplined act is a chisel stroke on the marble of your soul. The question is not, can I be disciplined? The question is, am I willing to pay the price of freedom? Because make no mistake, discipline is the price. But its reward is everything. It's the body you want, the bank account you dream of, the relationship you crave, the peace you've been chasing. It's all waiting for you behind a door labeled sacrifice. And the key is discipline. But no one can turn it for you. You must decide. Will you settle for potential, or will you manifest it? Will you die full of dreams, or live full of purpose? Discipline is not a moment, it is a lifestyle, and once you make it yours, you no longer beg for opportunity, you no longer wish for luck. You become the opportunity. You create your own luck. And when that happens, when you are no longer at the mercy of emotion or environment, then nothing can stop you. Not the critics, not the failures, not the storm, because storms don't break those who've already been forged by fire. Understand this, discipline is not about pain. It's about power. The power to take command of your own life when everything around you tells you to surrender. Every generation has its war. Some fought on battlefields. Ours is fought in the mind. The enemy? Distraction, comfort. The intoxicating pull of average disguised as normal. You wake up in a world engineered to dull your edge, to keep you scrolling, to keep you numbing, to keep you chasing pleasure while your purpose decays in the dark. But you were not built for sedation. You were built for creation, and creation demands clarity. Clarity is a weapon. Without it, discipline is directionless. It's running fast with no finish line. It's hustle without harvest. But once you define what you're building, once your vision burns clear, discipline becomes effortless. Because a man with clarity does not negotiate with weakness. He is not tempted by comfort. He is pulled by purpose. That's why you must ask yourself, what do I really want? Strip away the filters, not what looks good, not what gets likes, but what ignites something ancient in your chest, the vision you can't stop thinking about, even when the world tries to convince you to settle. When you have that, when you know it, feel it, breathe it, discipline stops being a chore. It becomes an act of worship. Every early morning, every repetition, every sacrifice becomes a love letter to the future you refuse to abandon. But hear this, clarity without belief is useless. You cannot outrun the limits you place on your own mind. And most people are trapped not by chains, but by stories. False narratives etched into their identity by fear, by failure, by the world. I'm not good enough. It's too late. People like me don't succeed. Lies, all of them. And you know how to kill a lie? You bury it beneath undeniable evidence. You act your way out. You build your way through. You show up day after day until belief becomes the only story left. Because belief isn't magic. It's momentum. It's the compound interest of disciplined action. You don't need to believe in the entire staircase. You just need to take the next step, and then another, and another. And slowly, the man who once doubted himself begins to see a new reflection in the mirror. Not a victim, not a dreamer, but a force. Understand this, the world bends to the man who refuses to bend to it. And that refusal? It's born in discipline. But belief alone is not enough. You must anchor it to vision, not vague desires, but a vivid, soul-stirring picture of the life you're building. See it in detail, where you live, how you feel, the work you do, the respect you command, the freedom you hold. A man with vision doesn't just wake up. He rises, with urgency, with intention, with the quiet knowing that his days are not to be wasted on noise or nonsense. Vision gives your discipline a target. It turns your grind into grace. It takes the pain of effort and transforms it into meaning, but the vision is not enough. You must protect it, because life will test you, people will doubt you, you will be tempted to lower your standard, to trade your purpose for popularity, your grit for approval. Don't. Discipline is the guardian of your vision, and that guardian is fed by purpose. Why do you do what you do? If your reason is shallow, your discipline will collapse, because when pain comes, and it will devour weak intentions. But if your why is rooted deep, then not even the storm can shake you. Purpose is what keeps the soldier marching when his feet bleed. It's what drives the mother to work 3 jobs for her child. It's what pushes the athlete to train when the cameras are gone. Purpose doesn't ask, do I feel like it? It declares, this is who I am. That's what you must become. A man who no longer requires permission from his feelings. A man governed by principle, not preference. Discipline isn't about becoming a machine. It's about becoming free. Because when you control yourself, no one else can. No boss, no system, no fear. And here's the secret the weak don't understand. Discipline doesn't shrink your life. It expands it. It gives you more energy, more clarity, more time, more results. When you stop making decisions based on emotion, you make room for power. You become a conductor of life, not a passenger, but it doesn't happen overnight. Discipline is not built in comfort. It is built in resistance. It's forged every time you say no to what you want now and yes to what you want most. Every time you resist that scroll. Every time you keep running when your lungs burn. Every time you sit with the discomfort instead of fleeing from it. You're not just building a habit, you're building a man. And that man is dangerous. Not to others, but to the version of himself that was once shackled by mediocrity. Discipline makes you dangerous. To laziness, to fear, to doubt. Because when discipline lives in you, those things die in your presence. You no longer need motivation. You are the motivation. You no longer chase inspiration. You move with it. You no longer wait for signs. You create them. And here's the truth that few will say out loud. This world does not reward the most talented. It does not favor the most intelligent. It honors the disciplined. Because talent without discipline is wasted potential. Intelligence without discipline is lost in distraction. But a man of average ability with relentless discipline, he is unstoppable. The giants of history weren't handed their legacy. They bled for it. They bled in silence. They bled in obscurity. While others watched the clock, they outlasted it. They were not seduced by shortcuts or applause. They were loyal only to the grind, devoted only to the craft, married only to the mission. Michelangelo spent 4 years lying on his back, painting the Sistine Chapel, enduring agony, loneliness, and criticism. Why? Because greatness does not bloom in comfort. It is summoned by discipline, called forth by those who stay when others quit. You must decide. Will you flirt with your potential or will you marry it? That's what discipline is. A covenant with your own becoming. A sacred agreement that you will not betray your future self for temporary pleasure in the present. And once you make that vow, everything changes. Discipline begins to reshape your environment. You start to see the lies for what they are, that just one more becomes poison, that I'll do it tomorrow becomes betrayal, that no one will know becomes your undoing. Because discipline is forged in the dark, when no one's watching, when there's no spotlight, no trophy, no social media post, just you and the choice to become stronger or to stay the same. And that choice is sacred. But don't mistake discipline for rigidity. A disciplined man isn't stiff, he's adaptable, because life will not obey your schedule. Storms will come, plans will fail, people will disappoint you. And when that happens, discipline doesn't panic. It adjusts. It bends, but it doesn't break. It learns, but it doesn't lose focus. It slows down, but it never stops. That's what makes it unbreakable. It's not that disciplined people never fall. It's that they rise faster, because they don't rely on emotion to act. They rely on principle. They rely on identity. They say, this is who I am. This is what I do, no matter what. So if you fall, get up immediately. Not tomorrow, not when you feel better, not after you talk yourself into it. Immediately. Because every second you stay down, you reinforce the identity of someone who quits. And you are not a quitter. You're a builder. You're building a mind that doesn't crack under pressure, a body that doesn't fold in fatigue, a spirit that doesn't retreat in the face of chaos. And that's what the world needs right now. Not more noise, not more talkers, but builders. People who create structure in a world addicted to collapse. People who create momentum in a culture of waiting. People who rise at dawn while others sleep in despair. Discipline is not just for you, it's your contribution. Because when you master yourself, you become a mirror for others, a light in the fog, a living reminder of what's possible, and that ripple is powerful. Your discipline doesn't just change your body, your bank account, or your business. It changes generations. You become the man your children look up to, the one who kept his word, the one who stayed the course, the one who didn't just talk about potential, he became it. But don't wait to feel ready. Because readiness is a myth. Clarity comes from action, not before it. So wake up early, even if it hurts. Turn off the distractions, ignore the noise, stop checking for validation, and move with boldness, with fire, with discipline. Because one day, when you're standing at the summit of your own design, when you look back on the battles you've won, on the nights you pushed through, on the mornings you rose despite the wait, you will thank yourself. You will realize that the greatest thing you ever built was you. And nothing can take that from you. So stop apologizing for your intensity. Stop dimming your fire to fit into rooms that fear it. You are not made for the mediocre. You are made to rise. Rise with clarity. Rise with purpose. Rise with unbreakable discipline. Because you are the architect of your future. You are the storm the world didn't see coming. And now is the time to step into that power. No more delays, no more doubt, no more dancing around your destiny. Be the one who defies the odds, the one who breaks the curse, the one who leads, not follows, the one who does what needs to be done, even when it's hard, even when it's thankless, even when no one claps, because that is what unbreakable discipline is, not a skill, not a tactic, but a way of life. The only question left is, will you live it? There's something sacred about the quiet moments, the ones before the world wakes, when the air is still, when your heart beats louder than the noise of the outside world. That is where unbreakable discipline is born, in the solitude, in the silence, in the space where there are no eyes on you, no expectations, no applause, only decision. Because in those early hours, you are either preparing for greatness or retreating into mediocrity. This is where you learn the real difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the flame that stays lit long after the match burns out. Motivation listens to how you feel. Discipline listens to what you committed to. The world teaches us to chase comfort, to seek ease, to find the path of least resistance. But history doesn't remember the comfortable, it remembers the committed. Alexander the Great wept because there were no more worlds to conquer, not because he wanted a break, but because his spirit was forged in ambition, in conquest, in doing what others thought was impossible. And you were built from the same raw material. The difference? You must choose to activate it, to call it forward, to breathe life into that dormant warrior inside you. And that takes vision, because discipline without vision is slavery. But discipline tied to a higher calling becomes liberation. When you know why you wake up, why you train, why you grind, why you say no to the easy way out, you begin to rise with a sense of divine purpose. Purpose gives your pain meaning. It makes the cold mornings sacred. It transforms the sweat into prayer, the repetition into ritual, the struggle into a symphony of becoming. And here's what they don't tell you. It's supposed to be hard. The resistance you feel? That's proof you're pushing against old limitations. That friction in your chest? That's your future self demanding to be born. And most people run from that feeling. They numb it. They hide from it. They drown it in distractions. But you lean into it. Because you understand a sacred truth. Discipline is the doorway through which transformation walks. Every day you wake up and choose the path few dare walk. You cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Not the version that pleases everyone, not the version that plays it safe, but the rare one, the disciplined one, the one who's building a legacy that echoes beyond their lifetime. And legacy, that is where true discipline finds its power. You don't show up just for today. You show up for the future. You show up for the child watching you, wondering if greatness is real. You show up for the version of you 5 years from now who will either thank you or curse you for the habits you kept. You show up because someone in your bloodline was counting on you to break the chain, to rewrite the narrative, to show the world that discipline is not just a tool, it's a weapon against mediocrity. But don't expect it to be glamorous. There are no parades for quiet excellence, no medals for inner strength, no standing ovations for the man who says no to weakness day after day. But in the shadows of consistency, the unseen man becomes the unshakable man. And there's a quiet power in that. The power to say, I will not be ruled by emotion. I will not abandon my mission when the mood changes. I will hold the line when it's easy, and especially when it's not. Because that's what separates the few from the many, the builders from the dreamers, the leaders from the lost. You think the world owes you something? It doesn't. But discipline does. Discipline pays you in respect, in resilience, in results, and eventually it pays in freedom. Because when you master discipline, you master time, you master money, you master yourself. And a man who masters himself cannot be controlled. Not by fear, not by failure, not by circumstance. That's the man the world can't ignore. That's the man whose name echoes in rooms long after he's gone. That's the man who became legendary, not because of luck, but because of discipline. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of watching others pass you by, if you're tired of knowing you were made for more, then stop waiting. Your moment isn't coming. It's already here. But you must meet it with discipline, not hope, not hype, discipline. Because that's the only thing that will carry you through the seasons of silence, when no one is watching, when the applause fades, when doubt knocks on your door every morning. It's discipline that answers. Firm, unflinching, unbreakable. And if you keep showing up day after day, storm after storm, pain after pain, you'll look back one day and realize something beautiful. The life you dreamed of wasn't given to you. You built it, one disciplined day at a time. There will come a day, a moment no different in appearance from any other, when the sun will rise, the world will hum its usual song, and the sky will stretch out in the same indifferent blue. But you will be different, because after months, maybe years, of quiet battle, of choices no one saw, of early mornings and late nights, of sacrifice that made no headlines, something within you will ignite, a fire that can no longer be contained, and the world, that once looked at you as ordinary, will have no choice but to recalculate, because now you walk with weight, not arrogance, but certainty, not noise, but presence, because now you are a product of discipline, not the shallow kind that flickers under pressure, but the kind that's been tested in the deepest dark, refined through rejection, sharpened by solitude, and risen again and again when everything in you said quit. That's the moment when you understand what this was always about. This journey, this climb, this war within was never about the world rewarding you. It was about you becoming the kind of person who doesn't need permission to be powerful, because the most dangerous force in the world is the one who no longer waits, not for motivation, not for opportunity, not for luck. The most dangerous force is the one who moves anyway. And the man or woman of unbreakable discipline is always moving. You see, this world bends for the relentless, not the talented, not the privileged, not the popular. It bends for the disciplined, for the ones who rise when the body aches, for the ones who say no when the world dangles pleasure, for the ones who turn rejection into rocket fuel, failure into foundation, and discomfort into home. And if you think this is about achieving some trophy, it's not. This is about becoming untouchable, about walking through chaos with calm, about facing storms with a still soul, about walking into any room, not needing to say a word, and yet the energy shifts, because those who live with discipline carry a gravity that cannot be faked. Let the world chase hacks. Let the masses scroll for shortcuts. Let them build houses on sand. You build in stone, in repetition, in sweat, in tears no one sees but heaven. Because you know, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your discipline, and yours is unbreakable. That's why when life comes to collect, when adversity knocks, when the winds howl and the ground shakes, you won't flinch. You'll tighten your grip, you'll dig in your heels, and you'll move forward anyway, because you are no longer a servant to feeling. You are a soldier of purpose, and soldiers don't ask for ease. They ask for orders, and your orders. Keep showing up, keep doing what must be done, when it's hard, when it's thankless, when it's lonely, when no one is clapping, because the applause of others is a cheap fuel. You run on something deeper. You run on a covenant you made with yourself, that you would never again betray your potential. And that promise, that sacred contract with your own soul, is what makes you unstoppable. So when they ask how you did it, how you went from invisible to undeniable, how you rose without noise, how you stayed solid when the world cracked open, you'll smile. Not because it was easy, but because you earned it. Every ounce of peace, every inch of progress, every thread of strength that now runs through your being. Because you chose discipline when no one was watching. You chose the climb when everyone else settled. You chose to become when the world begged you to remain the same. And now, you are the storm, the one who rises early and rests late, the one who fears no failure because you've mastered the art of standing up, the one who sees pain not as punishment, but as preparation. And while others drift through life hoping for change, you command it, you sculpt it, you carve it with every decision, you breathe it with every action, you own it with every disciplined moment you never gave up. This is not just a way to win. This is the only way to become immortal, not in the body, but in the echo of a life lived fully, of a mission never abandoned, of a spirit that refused to kneel, of a mind so sharp, a will so forged, a heart so steady, that time itself had to make space for you. So stand up now, straighten your spine, lift your chin. You are not here to be average. You are not here to be almost. You are here to be legendary. And that will never come through luck or wish or want. It comes through one sacred thing, unbreakable discipline, and now you carry it forever.